Heavy rain over the weekend caused problems for area drivers. A look back at the weekend of rain across the area. Plus, Huntingburg Mayor Denny Spinner joins me for tonight's edition of Monday with the Mayor, and Father John Beglin is tonight's guest on Inform. All of that and much more is up next here on the 18 WJTS News. Hello, I'm Bradford Raths. We begin this evening with heavy rains and floodwaters having an impact all across our WJTS viewing area. Here in Dubois County, county officials say several roads are closed due to high water. Lieutenant Stuart Wilson with the Dubois County Sheriff's Department says there were about 15 roads underwater as of this morning, and those included Old Huntingburg Road, Kellerville Road, Division Road at County Road 600 West, County Road 400 South east of Huntingburg, County Road 300 West east of Kellerville Road, and Meridian Road to the south of Jasper. Wilson said the Sheriff's Department didn't spend a lot of time rescuing people from the high water over the weekend, however.
Our department did not respond to any other vehicles that were occupied that were in high water. There were several that became disabled in high water, but nothing where a person's life was directly in danger, and none where first responders had to endanger themselves to rescue a person, which is what we don't want to see.
Wilson says people still need to avoid the water across roadways over the next couple of days in order to stay safe.
The water is extremely cold. The water temperatures are probably in the mid-30s to high 30s. You cannot survive that water. Even waist-deep water, you can become so weak in just a matter of minutes to where you cannot stay afloat, and you will not survive. We absolutely do not want to see a loss of life due to drowning. And we don't want to see any rescuers attempting to save a life lose their life in the process. It's just a horrible situation. Water rescues are extremely dangerous, and they're even more dangerous in cool weather.
For the weekend, the city of Jasper recorded more than 3.7 inches of rain. More than 3.6 inches of that fell on Saturday alone. 2nd Street near Newton Street and Clay Street from 2nd Street to Warnsing Road were all closed today due to high water. Other rainfall amounts reported across the area included almost 4.5 inches of rain in Celestine, just over 4.4 inches of rain in Huntingburg, 4.15 inches at Portersville, and 4.05 inches of rain fell at Cuzco. Ferdinand reported 3.7 inches of rainfall. The rains swelled the Patoka River to a crest of just under 540.9 feet this morning. The river rose more than 2 feet in just 2 days and is higher than the 540-foot mark for the first time since March of last year. Meanwhile, in Davies County, a large portion of East Side Park in Washington was underwater yesterday following a large amount of rainfall there over the weekend. Reports say that 5 inches of rain fell in the Washington area over the weekend, and that, combined with melting from the recent snowstorms, left areas in the park and several streets around it underwater. Washington Mayor Joe Wellman says the waters have come close to houses in a nearby trailer court area, and he says he has never seen the water as high as it is now. Earlier in the weekend, Washington City Police say parts of Main, Walnut, and East Van Trees streets were underwater, along with Lakeview Drive, Glenwood Drive, and Bedford Road. Damage from the floodwaters is not known as of this point. And finally, in Pike County, a Velpen man was stranded in floodwaters for 3 hours near Otwell on Saturday evening before he was rescued. Indiana conservation officers say 30-year-old Michael Christmas of Velpen was heading home from Otwell on an all-terrain vehicle when he tried to drive through on a flooded road. Officers say the water became deeper near a bridge, and Christmas attempted to turn around and his vehicle began to float away, carrying him away by the current. Christmas later told conservation officers that he was able to latch onto vegetation and get himself back to the bridge where he clung to an abutment. He was found at about 9:30 on Saturday evening after his calls for help were heard, beginning at about 7 o'clock on Saturday. Christmas was treated and released from Memorial Hospital for hypothermia. In Dubois County, there were 3 water rescues, including one along Ferdinand Road Northwest on Saturday morning. We also wish to pass along some other road closings due to flooding to you this evening. The Indiana Department of Transportation listed a couple of area road closings today, and these were State Road 257 between US 50 in Washington and State Road 356 in Otwell, State Road 64 between State Road 357 at Oakland City and State Road 61 at the Arthur Junction, and State Road 56 in Orange County between State Road 145 and US Highway 150. Please use caution as you drive in DuBois and surrounding counties this evening and over the next several days as the floodwaters begin to recede. A three-vehicle accident on Saturday morning claimed 2 lives and left 2 other people injured. DuBois County Sheriff's deputies say 18-year-old Marcus Ayala of Huntingburg was southbound on US 231 near the Huntingburg Bottoms at about 8:30 a.m. on Saturday when deputies say he went left of center. Ayala then collided with a vehicle driven by 49-year-old Earl Cox of Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, who was northbound on US 231. Debris from this crash then hit the passenger's side of a vehicle driven by 76-year-old Lindell Wasson of Jasper. Ayala was taken to Memorial Hospital where he succumbed to head trauma. Cox was taken to Memorial Hospital and was later airlifted to St. Mary's Hospital in Evansville where he succumbed to a lacerated liver. A front seat passenger in Ayala's vehicle, 19-year-old Hector Vasquez of Huntingburg, was taken to Memorial Hospital and later airlifted to St. Mary's Hospital to be treated for abdominal trauma. 40-year-old Julia Hutchinson of Huntingburg, who was a front seat passenger in Cox's vehicle, was also taken to Memorial Hospital and was later airlifted to St. Mary's Hospital in Evansville for treatment of head and facial trauma. Wasson and a passenger in her vehicle, 73-year-old Judith Wasson of Jasper, were unharmed. Both Ayala's and Cox's vehicles were total losses in this crash, while Wasson's vehicle suffered about $2,000 worth of damage. Police say the inhaling of duster or compressed air is a potential contributing factor to this crash, though their investigation is still ongoing. Jasper Fire Department first responders, Memorial Hospital EMS, the Jasper and Huntingburg Police Departments, and wreckers from Ubelor & Sons, as well as Rooks's Wrecker Service, all assisted. Now, the deaths from this accident ran last week's total up to 5 deaths in vehicle accidents just within the last week. Lieutenant Stuart Wilson with the DuBois County Sheriff's Department says distractions on the road have become a large part of the problem.
We work a ton of crashes at the Sheriff's Department during all times of the year where people leave the road for an unknown reason, and more often than not we strongly suspect that it's a cell phone use or texting or some other distraction in the car. We worked a pretty serious crash in the Celestine area this week that was a head-on collision that was caused by a girl taking the time to just look at her phone, and just 2 seconds away from looking away from the roadway can lead to fatal consequences, as we've seen this week.
Wilson says with the heavy travel during the holiday season, folks need to be on alert and distraction-free in order to drive safely.
Christmas is the second biggest travel holiday of the year, the first being Thanksgiving, and there will be a ton of people on the road, and you have to, first of all, absolutely do not drink and drive. Plan ahead for a sober driver. Know that if you're going to be consuming alcohol, have that worked out ahead of time, and you can certainly, there's always a solution to not driving drunk. You can always find that solution to stay sober. And the second thing is don't be well rested, and don't let yourself become distracted. Don't use your cell phone unless you have to. Pay extra attention. There's a lot of people on the road, and we want to make sure everybody gets there safe.
Wilson says it's the deadliest week that he can remember during his 15 years with the department. Coming up after the break, Huntingburg Mayor Denny Spinner joins me for this week's edition of Monday with the Mayor. Plus, Kurt's off this week as he completes his work as one of Santa's elves, so I'll be back later with sports, your local forecast, and Inform featuring Father John Beglin of Holy Family Catholic Church. That's all up next here on the 18 WJTS News. Local people watching local people.